Sorry, it takes my breath away.
Hello, hello. I think we're live right now. Thank you so much. What's going on?
Oh,
Why?
that's hilarious. I was connecting and when energy comes in, it's so funny. When energy comes in, sometimes it takes my breath away. So I was at a point where I couldn't breathe and I'm connecting and I'm feeling everything lining up. It was kind of going from the top all the way down. And I could feel it, feel
Yeah,
it, feel it. And then I was just like, hang on, one more second, one more second, one more second. As it was going all the way down, it was so funny. And you're like, oh, we're live.
we're live right now. Yeah, and thank you so much, everybody, for being so patient with us. Tech issues, right?
Oh
It's
my goodness.
so much
Yes.
energy recently. It's just been, so much tech issues. But thank you for being here. I am so happy to see all of you. Yay!
Yay.
Um,
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster this week.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
yeah.
there's just been a lot going on. And so I think getting together is really exciting because it's good to just be in community.
Yeah.
And I know that there's, the world is I'm just going to use the word polarized in regards to everything that's kind of transpired this week. And I don't want to really spend a lot of time talking about it itself, other than the polarization is very evident. And so um, I'm I'm sending out a lot of divine love and divine light and divine peace, divine joy
Yeah.
to the people who may whose hearts are feeling a little bruised from the things that have transpired this week.
Yeah. We want this space to be a space where you can be yourself. We
Yeah.
welcome everybody in this space. This is a space where we want to, especially with what's going on in the world, right? There is just what's going on in the world. We want this space to be a space of love, of light. We can all come together to remember our humanity, to remember our similarities, that we all really want the same things, right? We want love, we want our dreams, we want the visions, we want to be in a world where we are accepted, we are loved, we are valued. And so I just want to say that we would love to start. We are going to talk about the clairs. Happy to talk about the clairs because, right, yeah, today we're going to talk about the
Yeah.
clairs related to what was it again? It was like inner knowing
Inner knowing
and
and
feelings, right?
feeling.
And so before that, right? And I mean, Lisa, come as you are, it doesn't matter. We welcome anyone and everyone in the space to be yourself. All your emotions are valid. If you are celebrating, if you're in joy, that is valid. If you are sad and you are experiencing loss for whatever reason, it is valid. And so I just want you to know that this space is a space where we are coming together. Um,
Yeah. So I
yeah,
think I think what we need to do is kind of just come together, not only because by dialing in, and thank you so much for all showing up, but let's energetically connect and take a moment to just create sacred space because it feels really, really important to create the sacred space to kind of even everything out. It
yeah,
feels like it
yeah,
feels just by creating sacred space and coming in community is going to allow that to happen. So,
yeah.
um,
Let's do that. I love that because I want to ignite everyone's light within them in their
yeah.
solar plexus. We want to release everything that doesn't serve, any fear, any doubts, anything, right, that you may be carrying in your daily life, right? Because there's just a lot of, heavier energy around us, and we have that all the time going through life,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And so let's do that. Let's really come together. I saw that Lisa says that she is feeling amazing. She is a new baby in the family.
Ooh,
Congratulations, and that's why.
congratulations.
Yeah, if you are here to celebrate and be in joy because of things that's happening in your life, in your world, good for you. I'm happy for you. We are all happy for you. And then for everyone else who are like, things are feeling a little scary right now. That's okay too. Again, all feelings are valid. We are here to hold space for you. We are going to meet you where you are in whatever feelings you are feeling right now. And we are here to hold
Yeah.
space for you and to meet you where you are. Okay. So, Don, I don't
Ooh.
want to put you on the spot, but it looks like
No,
you're
that's okay.
thinking. Do you
Yeah,
want to
it
do you want to
feels, yeah, let's
create
go
that
ahead and
space first?
I'm going to invite everybody to close your eyes and take a nice deep breath in. And on the exhale, sense, feel, or imagine the stresses just gently rolling off your body. As you continue to focus on your breath, you begin to notice the stress rolling from the back of your head, your cheeks, your chin, down your neck. Allow it to continue to roll from your shoulders, your torso, down your back, gently releasing all the way down to your hips, through the knees, to the feet, and allow it to roll off into Mother Earth to be healed, transformed, and remain. On your next exhale, go ahead and drop your grounding cord and allow that to begin to go through the many, many layers of Mother Earth. As it continues down, feel it expanding down, down, continuing down. There's a beautiful orb of energy. It's kind of golden with a green hue. It's Mother Earth's heart chakra. And with reverence and gratitude, we're going to ask Mother Earth for the most perfect elixir for us today, because we all have different individual needs. We're going to gently plug that grounding cord into her heart chakra. Beautiful. We're going to begin to use our breath to gently pull this beautiful elixir up our grounding cords. Continue to pull it up, up, up. Begin to feel it slowly entering your feet, continuing up through to the knees, to your hips. Allow it to gently circle your spinal column as it continues up, all the way up to your shoulders. Allow it to go down your arms, up through the throat, into your head, and allow it to come out the crown chakra and just let it gently shower down around you, creating a beautiful bubble of energy. And just take a moment to breathe in this energy. Allow it to fill all the spaces within you. Allow it to expand out even further. Focus your attention on the crown chakra again. We're going to call in Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael. We're going to ask them to guide a cord all the way up up, 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 up. They're going to take this all the way up to source energy, God, Goddess, whatever your definition of that is perfect. And allow them to plug your cord in, connecting to your higher self, God, Goddess. And we're going to go ahead and use our breath to pull that energy down. And as it continues through that cord, you feel it enter the crown chakra. Allow that to fill. It's going down through all the chakras, the third eye, filling to the throat. Allow that to fill into the heart. Allow that to fill and expand into the solar plexus, filling and expanding into the sacral, filling, expanding into the root chakra, filling, expanding all the way down to your feet, where it comes back up as a second bubble of energy around your entire being. As above, so below, as above, so below, as above, so below. Just breathe in this beautiful energy. We're going to focus on a moment of gratitude for Mother Earth and source energy, for our guides and guardians, angels, the dragons, plant medicine, and anything else that is here to help us today, our ancestors. And just breathe in the peace, light, and love that's available to all. All right, there's a big Archangel Raphael is stepping forward, and he has this beautiful flame that he's bringing in for everyone. It's got iridescent colors, so I see all the colors of the rainbow with it. And this flame is to help release anything that's less than best, seen or unseen, known or unknown, that's preventing you from finding or aligning with the highest and best path for you at this time. And he's bringing that flame into your heart. And as it comes in, feel it expand through. And take a nice deep breath in. And feeling it move up to the head. Specifically to the back of the head. There's being a removal of, I'll just call them outdated beliefs that no longer serve. And there's an expansion happening in the head area. And lots of releasing. It's okay if you're feeling things. And the dragons are coming in. Right now I'm seeing the earth dragon coming in to help ground this beautiful energy for you so that it's easy to connect to. The emerald green dragons, and there's some pink dragons coming in for the heart area, and violet dragons working on the top of the head. We're going to focus back on our heart space. If you had a completely different journey during this time, that's perfectly fine. We're going to give gratitude to everyone for helping us today. And we're going to slowly come back into our bodies. Take another nice deep breath in. An audible exhale. And begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
creating sacred
Yeah.
space with us. Ooh, everything
Thank you.
feels
Thank you.
really
Thank
different.
you. I do want to say, so thank you for leading this because so when you were doing it, I want to say is for you may everyone may be experiencing something different, but what I sense really, really strongly. So there was a white and golden dragon that came in, and there was a angel that was golden. And I the reason why I'm seeing all these is because they are special to people on this call, special to people who are watching the replay. They are for you, and they're making themselves known that everyone may have a different deity, a different guide stepping in. There's a beautiful white gold dragon that was holding space. And really, as Don was channeling, it was going up, spiraling up the spine for everybody. And fairies, there was also fairy energy coming in, cutting the cords on the ground for people, bringing in more playful energy. Hopefulness is what the fairies are coming in with, that energy of playfulness back into your lives, right? Childlike wonder again. And what I sense really, really strongly is God Ra, or the creator Ra, the sun god Ra came in. And I don't work with Ra, so I was very surprised that he showed up. And when he did, there were also angels in gold and gold dragons. Very creator energy. And when I connected to the sun god Ra, and I feel like that sun god Ra may be here for some people on this call, it was about growth and about that kind of light, but it's a light that is powerful. It's almost like it's a masculine kind of powerful light that came in. And it was, and the sun god Ra gave everybody on the call like this beautiful sigil almost in the solar plexus in the area. And what I saw was it was that energy coming in and cutting the cords that almost looked like tentacles, was all black, and cutting the cords from everyone. And so the almost like the tentacles of like heaviness moving out of our being, and so that felt like we needed that energy because a golden angel came in as well to hold space. And I was just like floored because it was just this heaviness that everyone had from whatever they have been carrying, whatever they've been exposed to, as well as collective. And it just came out, moving out, right? And replacing it as your authentic self and sealing in that energy. And I felt like right away, I just wanted to make it known for people who have worked with Ra because it was very strong. Um, yes, and what he said, so we carry the weight of the world on us. We carry the weight of the world. It's heavy and it's thick. The weight of the world can be going through life, whatever that feels to you, but it's heaviness. And he said to let them carry it. He let basically to let him carry it. But I say them because there are other guides who stepped in for people on this call that you may align with more. I work with angels a lot, so and dragons a lot. So right away I'm like, I'm letting the dragons and angel carry this for me. Thank you. And but I just wanted you to know that today we move that energy, that excessive, that heaviness, right? And that invitation right now, after Dawn has created this beautiful sacred space, to come home to ourselves, to find the joy within ourselves, to find the light within ourselves. Yeah, to find the goodness within ourselves and to see the goodness in others. And that was what the real message was also. Um, Again, it's the idea of unity and coming together and accepting you for who you are, without shame, without guilt, without judgment. So I just wanted to thank Dawn for doing this. Yeah, and
Thank you,
let
Michelle.
me, Lisa, I'm sobbing my heart out, and then a dragon was pulling me into the right with colors of pink and gold. That is beautiful. Pink
Beautiful.
is unconditional love. Gold to me is about masculine creator energy. There was a lot of warmth. When Ra showed up, I teared up because it was so much warmth and so much love in being that light in the darkness. Wherever we are, however we show up in the world, don't forget that we hold the light within us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I was feeling a lot of feels, especially as the collective. In both, normally in my left eye is the one that tears. But through that, I was getting it on both sides, the tears coming down on both sides. So there, that was a big um energy exchange. Because they're saying it's an energy exchange. It wasn't a shift because we all placed the any of the densities that were there are now being carried so that we can begin to carry the light, the divine light, the
Yeah.
divine love in a in greater magnitude, um to help others, to help others to find their light.
Yeah.
So wow, that's really powerful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
never know
thank
what
you.
happens when you just
Yeah.
start.
When you channel, right? And this is why we love the group, because we come
Yeah,
in and we channel and we become that vessel,
yeah,
right? Which is
yeah.
perfect to talk about the clairs
Well,
because,
before we do that though,
yeah,
I have one thing that I do want to talk about.
yes.
I've been playing recently with a chakra and it's underneath your left arm. I don't know if I can do this. I've got this. But it's underneath your arm, but it's like in this area here and it's called the spleen chakra. And I don't know if everybody knows about the spleen chakra. I it's kind of newer for me, but it's kind of where it's a good place to keep your energy flowing.
Mm,
And so when you're feeling depleted, start to play with that chakra.
mm,
Because what they're showing me is even just by acknowledging it in your with just a quick thought, um, that you are able to kind of cap it, and then pull your energy back into yourself, so that it doesn't continue to leak out. Because there's just a lot of things that are happening very rapidly, and it's really, really important for us, as light workers, to maintain that energy level and to keep it up. And so checking in with that spleen chakra, just as simple as just kind of placing your hand on it, is enough to stop the because what they show is kind of like sometimes people are getting overwhelmed with things, and that's kind of like the um how a tire gets filled up, you have that little place that you put the air on. It's like that for our energetic bodies. And so if we need to fill back up, that's where we go. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. But they wanted me to bring that up. So all right. You ready to talk
yeah.
about some clairs?
Yeah. Let's let's talk about some clairs. Yeah, we were
So
talking of
yeah,
the
does
first,
any,
yeah,
I
go ahead.
can't see my phone is a little wonkadoodled, and so I
Oh,
can't see if
I'm
anyone
looking
has
at
any
comments. If
comments.
anyone
Okay,
has any
if anyone has any
questions
questions about
about
anything.
clairs, for sure, ask us. I think the first club we can talk about is inner knowing.
Oh
Because yeah,
yeah.
let's talk about inner knowing. And one of the things about inner knowing, and so there are what, six different clairs, correct? There's
Yeah.
six different clairs, and so today we're going to talk about two. Next week we're going to talk about another two, and then we're going to wrap it up with kind of like a, I think we're going to do an activation and the healing.
Mhm.
They're all wrapped up around clairs, right? And so we would like to know if anyone have any questions, of those of you on the call or those of you watching the replay, because we know that everyone has different familiarity with clairs and familiarity with knowing your clairs. So one of the things I'm going to start is inner knowing. So inner knowing for me is, so it's a sense of like, that gut feeling, you just know. You don't know where it's coming from, you know. It's very fast. And I would say, working with a lot of people and even going through my own journey, lots of us actually have inner knowing, but we ignore it. Because that was actually, so inner knowing is actually a really, I would say, it's interesting because it's intuitive, but then for us living in a very rational world, it is not, because we always second guess ourselves. And because inner knowing is so instant, people always think of it as, I'm just making it up. No, it's not. They second guess themselves all the time. And so that was my experience with inner knowing. So I will love, and I know Dawn has an exercise, right? That you do to help us like keep check in what is, how what our which Claire is the strongest for us. So I'm gonna like pass it over to you.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's we'll probably have that exercise farther down
Okay.
the yeah, we'll probably do that on the third group meeting. Um, but for inner knowing, it's something that is really strong for me too. And it's one of the things that I never thought I had any spiritual gifts at all, ever. I was in the land of self-doubt. I was in the land of yeah, no, I don't have anything important for to say. No one's going to listen to why there's no value in anything I have, right? Which was a really sad place to be. And I no longer think that, but it still is something that will pop its head up every once in a while. But inner knowing is you can tell if you have inner knowing based upon your friends and how your friends communicate with you. If you happen to be the person that everybody comes to for advice because you always give really good advice, there's a reason for that. And that's because you're plugging into your Claire for inner knowing to share the advice because it's sound advice. And
Yeah.
so a good way to work on developing that is to spend time in meditation. And that's just allowing yourself to be still and be quiet, so that you can start to it just starts to develop through that. Um,
Can I interject?
yeah,
So
please do, please do.
one of the things about inner knowing is inner knowing may come to you as a thought. And it's because it's very fast. It's usually, and this is what I tell people, right? Especially if you're new to energy work. And when you're new to energy work and you're trying to develop your intuition, inner knowing is the first thought that comes to your mind. It's like a thought, and lots of people dismiss it as their own imagination. So it may not be a vision, it may be just like you just know. It's the same thing where you're like, like when you walk into a place and you're just like, I just know. Like, I just know that something bad's going to happen, or you just have this weird feeling. It's just that knowing. And so, one of the things about clairs is clairs usually work together with other clairs. And so, for us, like when you're developing your clairs, I would say sometimes like notice where this inner knowing is showing up for you. And again, right, inner knowing may be really prominent and strong for some people, but not for others. So one of the things that I realized when I was going through developing my spiritual work and spirituality, inner knowing was the first clair for me. It was very strong. Um, and for you, it may be something else. For you, it may be visions, right? For you, it may be feelings. Feelings is also very strong for a lot of people. So I just want you to know and acknowledge that, right? And so let us know, how is inner knowing showing up for you, or how you have sensed inner knowing. Because Lisa's like, inner knowing is my thing. Slowly developing the other. Sometimes I'll see things, but my inner knowing is the
Yeah.
strongest one. So it's just kind of a gut feeling, like how you meet a person and you're like, I don't know. I'm like, or you're like, don't, no. That is trust that feeling. And when you
Yeah.
channel or when you meditate, right? Sometimes I always like to ask people, what is the first thing that pops into your mind? What's the first thing, the first word, the first whatever? Don't second guess it. And so sometimes when I ask them, it's like, and then they will just tell me, they're like, I know who it is. It's my sister. And I'm like, let's go with that. Let's trust that. Let's see where it's taking us. Because then the brain comes in immediately telling you, oh, no, it can't be, da, 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 and self-doubt shows up. So that's one of the way, you practicing inner knowing is also trusting that first thought that comes to your mind. The more that you strengthen it over, and it's also when some people say, I just blur out of my mouth.
Yeah, it just
Same
falls
thing.
out.
That was what someone here on the chat said. It just
Yeah,
comes out of my mouth.
it
And
just
that
comes out.
is also that inner knowing. You just know. If you heard people say that, right? You
Yep.
just know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely I'm getting better at understanding, and it takes practice, what's actually my thought versus what's coming from higher up. And it's like I can sense it it just feels a little bit different in my body, but it took me a little bit to fine tune that. And there's still, even going through it, it just takes a little while to get it. But inner knowing it's I've always known that it was what was the strongest for me, but it was the one that I distrusted the most. And so it took a little while to work through that, but it brought to light all of the other
Yeah.
things that I needed to work on to get there. Yeah.
And inner knowing is something that people dismiss all
Yeah.
the time. And the reason why they dismiss it, and and here, because this is coming from my experience as well,
Yeah.
because a lot of us actually are very intuitive and we
Mhm.
grew up with that inner knowing. And because it came so naturally and comes so naturally to us, and most of us have this ability that we don't even think of it as an ability. And so when
Yeah.
people start thinking, oh, like what is it to be a healer? What is it to be a channeler? People look at Hollywood and they're like, oh, and so it's funny because every time I have people and have clients come to me say, I'm not psychic, I can't see things. And I'm like, but you actually know a lot of things. But they're like, but I don't see it. I'm like, but that's maybe not your Claire, and that's okay. But you know things,
Yep.
and they could be like, I know I'm going to win the lottery. I know I'm going to get money here. I know, right? Or like, I know this guy's going to be my husband one day. They know, they just know. And that's
Yeah.
that inner knowing coming in. And so I would really encourage you to, when that happens, look, try this, right? Especially if you're still working through and developing your clairs, try this. Don't second guess yourself and
Mhm.
just see where it goes. Follow that inner knowing, right? It's because, again, when I stop listening to the inner knowing and I allow logic to come in, I'm not saying that logic has no place, logic does, but a lot of times, like, I just know because your soul knows, your inner compass
Yeah.
knows and it's trying to lead you to your soul purpose. But I always second guess myself by using logic. And then later I realized, oh, I understand that now because spirit has a way, if you are on this journey, if you choose to accept this path, again, it's a choice, it will steer you back. And then you're like, oh, I see, I should have just trusted my gut feeling. So,
Yeah.
so
It's it
yeah,
is a- it is a lot about that gut feeling. I do remember one of the things that I wanted to talk about was so it's like you remember how when you were kids, or if you're a mom yourself, you know exactly what your children are doing.
yeah.
Um
Yes, yes,
that's
you just
that's
you just
that's
know.
a yeah,
That's
that's an example. And so you can say, well, logically I can approach it from that perspective. But a lot of times it's like, oh no, I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. And it's that connection because it's all energy. Everything that we do is based in energy. And so tuning into that energy, or being
yeah,
able to tune into that energy, those frequencies, it brings in the information that you need to have. And so I think of it like kind of like music. It just kind of up and down.
yeah,
And so you just plug in and you're like, oh yeah, I got that, or oh, it's over here, it's over there. Another fun thing that you can do to help with the knowing piece is to play with a deck of cards. And just shuffle the cards and then just go through and say, this one's going to be red, this one's going to be black. But don't just get yourself all frustrated going, oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do this. Give yourself some grace and
yeah,
take some time to shuffle the deck and then hold it and like hover above it and say, okay, is this going to be red or black? And then wait.
yeah,
Wait, give it 3, 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Don't wait and say, oh, I'm never going to get it, but just go, okay, this is what it's going to be, and then flip it over. And if you continue to do that, because I used to play that game, like before I go to bed, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do 10 cards and see what I get. And when I first started, I was awful at it. Awful. Um, I'm a little bit better now. I'm still not 100%, but I'm better at it, right? But
yeah.
what it's teaching me to do is to slow down and connect in a completely different way. So,
Yeah. And Roberta, she said, and mainly how I prescribe messages from my companions, and she's, her heart chakra. And so she's talking about how her inner knowing is showing up in her heart chakra. It's an expansion that is like lightning in my chest. People do feel it
mm,
differently. for me, it's just like a gut. It's like right here in my gut.
in the solar.
And the
Yeah.
other thing when you talked about cards, and the other thing that I was use oracle cards. And oracle cards, a great way for you to do that, right, is just to, and you can do it however way. You can ask a question in your oracle card, or you can just pull up a card. You could just say, what is this for me? What is this message for me? And you pull it up, and then you ask the card, like right away. Don't even read the description. What is this? What is this about?
What
And
are you
then
here to
right
teach
away
me?
connected it. What is the right thing that comes in? Because
Yeah.
so when I again, everyone we're going to go through all six clairs. Some clairs are stronger. Some clairs are your dominant clairs. Comes in very naturally. But as you develop and as you trust more clairs will come in. So I know for Dawn, similarly, like the both of us, we have all our clairs when we're doing, spiritual work. That's how, and it's sometimes they all coming together. That is really hard for us to be what is what. But when we were learning, one of the things that I do when I was learning was oracle cards, and really was just not even looking at the description and just asking, what is the message for me right now? And you may have to look at the description to help you, and that's okay. But when I do card reading, right away I just look at the card and then I just sense the energy, and it's the inner knowing, right, telling me like, okay, this card is for whatever it means, and so it changes the meaning. Inner knowing is about meaning, and the meaning changes all the time. And so that is one way inner knowing can show up for you. And play with it, and you can get better at it just by playing with cards and just asking, what do I need to know today? Don't look at the description. First thing that pops into your mind. And
Yeah.
so that's one of the other thing. I know some people have talked about working with guides. 100%. When I work with guides, and I'm sorry, I'll let Dawn explain her process too. When I work with guides, I talk to them, and it's funny because when I use the word talk to them, they're like, "Oh, you hear them?" Oh no, I don't hear them. I inner know. That was, but I use it when I talk to guides, and so I think people would assume right away like, "Oh, you actually hear them? Oh, you're psychic. I can't hear them," and I'm like, "No, girl." I in it like so when I talk to them, they would give me an answer, but not in the form like some people can hear. I don't usually hear. I either know. They would just give me an answer right away. It comes super fast, and I have now not. I've learned to trust it.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
so for me, with the inner knowing, it took me a while to figure it out because I would get intuitive hits, and I'd be like, well, why am I thinking about this thing? Why did this thing pop up? What does this mean? And then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm getting this thing happened to me when I was about 8 years old, and this was the experience. And then the person would be like, oh, and it triggers a conversation with them. And so we're able to back into it. But it's like, oh, all right. So I'm getting things from a different perspective. But with the knowing, it's more, it's just there. It's
Yeah.
just there.
It is just
And
it's
it's
yeah.
just there, and you're
Trust
just
it.
like, oh, okay, I don't know. I remember my sister and I we were in a completely different state, and we were driving down the road, and we couldn't figure out what was growing in the fields, and I blurted out an answer, and she just starts laughing. She's like, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know, I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do. And
Exactly. That's
so
the
my
I don't
family
know.
then
I
starts,
just
yeah,
do.
then my
Exactly
family
that.
starts making fun of me, and I'm
Yeah.
just
And
like,
they're like, are you? Yeah,
this is just
100%.
the
That
way
is
it works.
exactly. It's like you don't know where it's from. You just
I
know.
don't know,
Trust
it's
it.
just there, yeah.
Yeah. So
And then I
Nicole
look it
was
up on
like,
the internet later, and I'm like,
and it's
oh, I was so
100%.
right.
This happened to me all the time too. I was like, I don't know this. Like I don't know. Like it's the same thing with like Ra stepped in, and I was like, I don't work with Ra. I don't know who he is. But then I was like, who are you? It's like Ra, and I was like, I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna trust. And then I had to Google it and be like, what is? But it's because I know. But it happens all the time, and then I have to go Google it, and it's crazy
Yeah,
pants
it's
because
crazy what you
it's the
find.
exact meaning where I yeah. And I was like, I'm not making
Well,
this shit up. Like,
Yeah, no, it's awesome because I was getting caught up really early when I was trying to learn how to, work and maneuver in the spiritual world. And I was like, well, I'm not getting anything because I don't know who I'm talking to. And one of
Yeah.
my friends gave me some really good advice and she goes, "Don't focus on who the information's coming from, focus on the message." And I was like,
Yes.
"Oh, okay."
Yes.
So now I really don't pay too much attention to who's talking to me because
No, it's true.
I only let people of the light in.
Yes.
And so I'm like a lot of times I'm like, well, it's just coming in and I will figure it out later.
Yeah. I,
I'll figure it out later.
I love
So,
that you mentioned this because, again, right, for everyone on the call, watching this on replay, when you start connecting spiritually is very, very important protection and
mhm,
always setting the intention of things coming from the light. And here's the other thing that how I notice, because inner knowing can, your ego can interfere with that. Because if
mhm,
you're, for me, one of the biggest thing was how do I separate it that my ego is talking from this is actually messages that I'm being guided. So one of the things that I've noticed and I realized is ego speaks in a very egotistical way, but ego speaks in a very 3D way. So, what I mean is that sometimes it speaks in fear, sometimes it speaks in criticism and self doubt. So, when I started doing this work and I started channeling, I would get information right away, and immediately there's another voice or another thought that comes in saying that this is bullshit. Right? They say things like, you can't do this. What are you thinking? All these really like things to chip at my self-confidence and self-doubt. And then I learned to recognize that voice. That voice is not, and so things that come through as being more like fear-based, lower vibration, can be, right? It can be not all the time. I think that comes with discernment also.
mhm,
Um, can be from ego. So what I like to say all the time is I always set sacred space when I do any energy work, right? It's setting that sacred space, even setting the intention. And you can set the intention every day that I'm only receiving messages from the light, being guided by the light. Right. And always doing this and inviting the dragons, angels, fairies, whoever you work with, goddesses, right, to Ra, right, to protect you. And so after a while, did not happen instantly for me. It was not, yeah, I mean, it didn't come naturally to me, is what I'm trying to say. That I had to learn how
yeah.
to do all of this before it started coming naturally. So that is why I'm saying that
Yeah. It's
all of us have intuitive gifts. We just have to like trust ourselves and let it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like a present. It's wrapped in this beautiful package, and you have to untie the bow and remove the wrapping paper, and it takes time. And when I'm using that analogy, it's more along the lines of you have to unlearn some of the ego behavior in order to allow it to come through. But through practice with things like flipping the cards, you start to build your confidence. So you have to give yourself grace, and that's the part of breaking down the ego. You're like, okay, you're like, you're messing with the cards, and you're like, okay, it's going to be black, and you turn it over and it's red, and you're like, oh, I got it wrong. And you're like, okay, the next one's going to be red, and boom, it's black, and you're like, oh, I got it wrong. So that's how you start to confront the ego piece,
Yeah,
because it doesn't, the only person judging it is you.
yeah,
If you're
yeah,
and so by going through that exercise, you're learning how to unwrap it, take that bow off, take the paper off, and look at what the true gift really is. Does
yeah,
that make sense?
yeah.
I hope.
And so that makes perfect sense. And so the last thing before we talk about the other very juicy Claire, which is emotions, which is what I think most of us have as well, right? I know certainly all my clients have emotions as one of their main Clairs, which is very interesting because it's not one of my main. but the thing about the cards that I want to, because I think somebody here, Nicole, I think, asked, she basically said that she's not gonna, read the description of the cards first. Trust what you are getting because sometimes the card description totally tells you something else. That's okay. Like trust that because
Many
it's meant for
layers.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's many layers,
yeah,
many
that
layers.
that's one of the things that I had to learn as well because I was memorizing the descriptions and I was like second guessing myself. Oh no, that's not what he meant. But you know what? A lot of times it is your own unique magic coming in. It's meant for you, and these are channeled messages by someone else. It's for a different situation
Yeah,
and a
they're
different,
their
yeah,
words. They're their
exactly.
words, their situation. Your
Yeah,
words, your experience are completely different.
yeah. And
So,
so we can, I know that we are on the hour now, so maybe we
oh,
can quickly
we
talk
started
about.
late.
We always start, yes, we started
And
late.
we
That's
did a
true.
big healing up front. And
That
so
is
we're
true.
still, we're still, I don't know about you guys,
We're
but
we're
I'm
good
still
on time.
feeling
We're good.
that
We're good
yummy
on time.
energy.
But yeah, so let's talk about a really, really, I think a very popular one. It is feelings, right? You one of the clear is
The
what
feel,
is the name of
the
that
feel.
feelings?
Clear
Uh
sentience.
clear sentience.
Clear
Thank you.
sentience. Yep.
Thank you.
Clear
Yeah.
cognizance is the knowing, clear sentience is the feeling.
Yeah.
So,
And
in
they
case we
work,
didn't say it earlier,
yeah, they work.
they work really good in tandem.
Yeah, go ahead.
I find that they're both that those two are my stronger clairs, and I didn't realize that my clairsentience can be not only emotional feelings, but feelings in my physical body.
Mm,
And I started to really hone in on it when I started doing Reiki in person for people because I would feel different chakras firing on myself and I'm like, what is this? Or I would be doing readings in at like a fair or something, and I'm like, okay, let me connect. And then I would immediately start plugging into my own body, going, okay, they want me to talk about this. And so I would feel, I'm like, okay, I'm feeling it in my solar plexus. And then I would open my mouth and say, I feel it in my solar plexus. And that usually means, and then all of a sudden, all this information just falls out of my mouth. And I'm like, does any of that resonate with you? And they're like, oh, yeah.
yeah, that is
And
the
so
two working in tandem, right?
yeah,
That
that's the
is,
two working in
yeah.
tandem. So I'm just so I use it on my body as a where do I need to go next? Where do I need to go next? I also have had, and maybe you guys can learn from this experience. Um, I had to go to this was early in my my spiritual development. I I went to a wake and I walked into a room
Mm,
full of sorrow and sadness. And was an acquaintance of the person who passed. I wasn't super close with them, but I am reacting. I'm sobbing like a baby. I'm extremely over emotional, and I'm like, I have to go. I have to go. And as soon as I got outside, I could breathe again. And I was like, I didn't do a good job protecting myself before I went in there. I just became a vacuum and sucked up everybody's sorrow.
yeah.
And I was like, that was a really good lesson. Um, so it's there's a difference when it's your feelings versus somebody else's feelings. And again, that protection, I don't tell that story to scare anybody, but once it takes a while for the light switches to flicker on and you're like, oh, that's what's happening because I was so busy feeling the feels because I've always been a highly emotional person. And now I know why.
I I I love that you shared this because I'm going to share a story that I mean, not a story, but my experience, right? A lot of us on the call watching the replay are empaths. We are people who can feel very strongly. And sometimes, and I'm going to say this as light workers, as psychics, as healers, as whatever, that is extremely powerful. And I'll talk about that later because you can hone in and then your inner knowing kicks in. Like I can feel people's pain, um, their emotion. And I zero in on that. And then the inner knowing kicks in right away and tells me where it's from, why it's there, and then everything boom, 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 boom. So that actually is a very, very powerful gift. Most of us have that. The other thing I want to say, like backtrack, is I didn't know this at all. Like what Dawn said, I didn't know. that I was soaking up people's energy. I didn't know why I was feeling that way. A lot of us are empath and we are very confused because of that. And for me, what it happened was because I was soaking up everyone's energy without knowing it's my own, I shut down completely. I blocked myself. No emotion. I don't feel any emotion. And then I realized it took me a long time as I started doing the spiritual work was actually learning about my trauma and learning to feel again because feeling was so hard because I'm
Mhm.
feeling people's anxiety, people's fear, people's pain. And I didn't know what to do with it. It was just like information overload. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, snip, cut off. And then I realized that it wasn't serving me and it wasn't serving people. And to be really honest, and I know, Dom feels the same, in the past few weeks, it was really, really hard for us. Like, I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but it was really hard for me because I'm feeling all these emotions.
Oh,
And
it's
then I
yeah,
had
the
to like
collective, even the collective
block
energy
off.
is hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to pull out of it. I will share a story. I was taking, because in addition to being a teacher, I'm a student, right? I'm a student first. I love learning things. And I was taking a different class, doing different things, and I was in with with someone and we were like doing a practice partner type of thing. And this gentleman said to me, he goes, "Well, every time I do this, I feel like, these other people just keep dumping all their energy on me." And I was like, and he goes, "I don't like it." He said, "I don't like it. I don't like it at all." And I was like, well, wait a minute. Because this is me still trying to learn things. And I was like, well, wait a minute. This is actually his clairsentience kicking in. He's actually picking up. It's not that they're trying to dump all their energy. It's coming out to display where to go with it next. And it was like, oh, I totally get it now. I totally understand how this works, but it took a long time for me to figure out what it was because anyone who knows me knows that there is not an emotion that I can hide on my face. I am not a poker player at all. I feel things. I cry at the drop of a hat. I'm very highly emotionally charged. Drives
Yeah.
my significant other absolutely bananas.
It's hard. And I think Roberta asked a really good question. What are you doing to protect yourself? And I would like to share that because that
Oh,
was thanks for saying this
yeah.
because to be really honest, so like again, right? We try to shut down because the weight of the world is heavy, right? I can like I meet again, right? Being an empath is incredibly powerful because you can feel their pain and you can
Hmm.
empathize. It is extremely, I can honestly, I can all I can say is the me today before my healing, before my spiritual journey, it's very different. And I feel like I can connect to people on a level that I could never before because I connect to them in their heart right away.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like I know where that pain is coming from. And then that helps me acknowledge their humanity right away. And
Right.
it's so powerful again in this divisive kind of world, right?
Hmm.
Um, but that to me, and so, but it can be really hard. And so what I do,
It,
Roberta, is, and I'm sorry if it just, the face has no filter. Um, I call in it for me, and I'm sure Dawn will share her way. I call in the dragons. And actually, there is a pink dragon. I'm seeing a pink dragon really wanting to come in. The pink dragon is cosmic love. And so, one of the things you can do, and I'm saying this for everyone who feels a sorrow, right? Who feels a sorrow within them for whatever reason, right? Because it feels almost like emptiness and a sorrow, right? And so, we, you can call them in and have the pink dragon or invite in the dragon, whatever dragon wants to show up for you. But the pink dragon, invite in the pink dragon, ask the pink dragon to use its flame. The flame is showing up as cosmic pink. Archangel Shamuel is also very good at that. The pink dragon and Archangel Shamuel sometimes work together to come into your heart space. Just invite them to come into your heart space or your heart chakra using its flame. And I like to see it as that breath that you can just imagine. And even if you don't imagine, you can't see, can't feel, it's okay. Just place your hand in your heart and just set that intention and allowing that energy to fill up your heart. Fill it up and just let it feel slowly allowing it to come in, knowing that it's safe, right? And then the pink dragon, inviting the pink dragon to come in and sit right here in your heart space. And then setting that intention, right? That every time you feel that sadness, or every time you feel an emptiness, a loneliness, or whatever feeling that you're not being accepted, etc., right? Allowing that dragon to use its flame to expand and fill it up with love and to remind you of the connection that you have with the cosmos, but a connection you have with your soul family, your soul tribe here. Your soul chose to come here right now on Earth. There's a reason for that, right? And so I always believe like we are drawn to this work because we are light workers. We want to carry the light for others and shine brightly. And that means we have to fill our own cup, right? And so thank you for Rita asking the question. That's one of the ways I do it. I
Mhm.
also call in protection. I bring protection in, and whenever I do any, so I'm not like open and just soaking in everyone's energy. I don't. I close it. And when I need to, I open. And so, like in the session, when I need to feel, I set sacred space and then I close it again. And I'm very, yeah, I'm just very cognizant.
Yeah.
Do I want to connect with this person so I can feel that person's energy and their emotions and help them? Or do I just want to be like, no, not today, dude. No, 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 you get to make that choice. And so that
Yeah.
protection is really, and it could be as simple as just imagining a bubble of light around you. That's what I always do.
Yeah.
So yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead,
so
Don.
that's a great question. One of the first thing I do is I ask, is this mine or is this somebody else's?
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
the first thing I do. Is this mine or is this somebody else's? Um, Another thing is I will multiple times a day, I am clearing my energy. And there
Mm,
are lots of different ways you can clear energy. My favorite thing is selenite. I just think the word selenite and I can feel things dropping off of me. I call in Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael and the Warriors of the White Light. They're also big for me in regards to setting sacred space. There's no right or wrong way to do that. What I liked is I had a teacher one time mention every time they go to the bathroom they when they wash their hands they're also energetically clearing their space, and I was like, what a great way to remember to do that.
yeah.
So you can use the power of the water energetically to just cleanse and clear. There's lots of different ways to do it. If you just constantly clear, constantly
Yeah.
clear, constantly clear. That's the
I
best way for me.
I
Go ahead.
I love that you say, is it mine or
Oh,
is it
yeah.
theirs?
That's a big
Because
one.
that's a big one. That's huge for me. And I'm it does wonders. I was in a
Yeah.
job that was very highly with anxious people.
Hmm.
And then I just felt anxious the whole time. But I was like, why am I feeling anxious? There's no reason for me. It's not my problem. But I was like, all the time. And then I decided, you know what? I'm gonna, before the meeting, call in a layer of protection. And I kid you not, I sat there and then I
Oh.
feel the anxiety. And I was like, that's not my problem. And I was like, that's not mine. I'm like, I am not taking on. And it was that clear awareness. And I'm like, I know this person is dumping all their crap on me because they're anxious, but it's actually not me. And that was a huge aha moment because I sat there. I was not affected. I was not triggered. I was not affected. I was like, I am sorry you're feeling this way. Okay. And then I was
Mhm.
like, I was fine. But I used to carry their thing. And that's the other thing about being an empath is that people know. They will come to you and be like, verbal
Yeah, well,
diarrhea,
that's
right?
yeah.
They will come to you and like offload. We attract these people. And
Yeah,
I didn't know what to do with it.
our energy is a magnet and it attracts people to us that are seeking that. And it's an honor to be able to attract such good quality people. Um
They know subconsciously. It's what Roberta say. They know. And
they do know.
they are,
I
yeah, go ahead.
anyone that has babies that light up when they show up, anyone that has animals that
Animals, I was
flock to
gonna
them,
say,
they
yes.
know, they know they're good with the vibration. I do want to take a step back though, because I did forget to mention this with the claircognizance. Um, we kind of briefly touched on it in regards to the ego talking and where are the messages coming through, and I will do a trick. um Before I start any of my sessions, I channel light language with the intention of getting myself out of the way so the highest and best information can come through. And I just wanted to, you can do that with just setting an intention to gently step out of the way so that the information can flow through freely. Because it felt important to bring that up too.
I I am going to, I know we are running out of time
Oh, yeah, look at us.
today. And I want to end this call. I feel free to please, if you're watching this a replay or if you're thinking about this, to come back and ask
Oh,
questions.
yeah.
We will be happy to answer them. Next week we're going to do another one, same time, two more Claire's. And then the third week we're going to wrap it up with an activation, bringing in your clairs, helping activate your clairs, right?
Mhm.
Because we feel like this is really, really needed right now as we are called to be that light, right? And so I pulled three cards for the collective. The first one was this, and it's
Oh,
Thor.
Thor. I love Thor.
It's Thor's red, black, and gold dragon, and it says protects you in times of change. And change happens, change is everywhere in our lives. Um, yeah, change is constant. Unfortunately, the only thing that's constant is change, actually, right? And so it says a time of rapid transition and transformation. We're in a time of rapid transformation. We're in a time of rapid transition. Relax, you are safe.
Yeah. With that one,
So,
with the name Thor, it's that hammer, throwing the hammer down, and that
yeah,
as that hammer hits the rock and then that energy vibrates out, that's what it feels like for me. It's all
yeah.
about the impact and then the reverberation. Ooh, that's a big word. Out
Yeah.
of the energy. It's just, yeah.
And I am sensing Ra again, which is crazy. So thank you, because I again don't work with Ra, but I thank you for coming in. And he's all gold, like the sun god, right? And yeah, feeling that standing in front, and so if you feel an angel, that's perfect as well. But standing in front, helping us transition and change, because change happens in our lives all the time. Bringing a new baby into the family is change, right? A job is change, move is
Yeah.
change, everything, right? It's change. Thanksgiving, I don't, it's gonna be change, right? Deciding to have a different menu for Thanksgiving is change. But understand that you relax and you are safe and protected. A time of rapid transition and transformation. That's
Yeah.
where we are heading, right?
Yep.
Um,
And in what I'm getting right now is never underestimate the power of self-healing. If you're overwhelmed and don't know where to start, start internally.
yeah,
Start internally.
that change is the change within as well. And I love that because it protects you in the time of change. And what I'm really feeling, what does this change means is an internal change. Protecting you in the time as you change, as you shift, as you transition, as
As you,
you cocoon. Is the second card, which is the
oh, look at
Black
that.
Dragon. Cocoons you so that your divine potential grows. And so this is beautiful. It's meditate, reflect, and you're undergoing a metamorphosis. And so it works really well because this change, it is a time of change, but change is inward change,
Mhm.
change for you. You are
Yeah.
growing, you're shifting, you are shifting timelines, right?
Ooh,
And
yeah.
then we are doing this. We're cocooning, the Black Dragon
Yeah.
cocoons us as we change internally.
And it's also getting to know different pieces and parts of ourselves that have been remaining hidden for so long that we haven't had the courage to look at. Those are the pieces that are coming forward. And that is like it's like creating a handshake for that and meeting those deeper pieces. And some of them are light and some of them are shadow, but there's a beautiful mixture in all of them. And it's about opening your heart and not being afraid to examine the new pieces that want to come forward. Um, Allow yourself grace, but there's also this deep dignity and peace going, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. Does that make sense? That's what
That
came
makes
through.
perfect sense. It's the third card after I can do this, right? Is the earth and the fire dragon. Ooh. The earth and fire dragon, I love it because
Mhm.
the earth dragon and the fire dragon often work together.
Oh yeah.
Reason being, fire comes in, clears everything.
Hmm.
Fire is destruction, right? Sometimes you
Hmm.
have to tear shit down to rebuild things, right? So fire can be destructive, but fire is also very, what's the word, like nourishing, right? Because you clear the ground, you get rid of everything that was moldy, that was stale, that was old and outdated. And then the earth dragon comes in and we plant and we grow for new beginnings,
Yeah.
right? And so that's the earth and the fire dragon works together all the time. Not all the time, but in this case, it does. Um, and this is then, right? It's time for service. When you gift, you receive. And so I love this internal change that's happening within your world cocoons you as you undergo the metamorphosis, and then you show up here and you show up being of service. And this is about being of service to humanity.
It's
And
letting
I,
your
I
light
said,
shine.
yeah,
It's
I
letting your
said
light
that
shine.
early on that we came here for a reason. We chose. Our
Hmm.
soul chose to come here of all times, right? Right now, this
Hmm.
time. And it's about being of service to humanity. And so, because it's very much Earth, Mother Earth, right? Not just the environment. For some, it is the environment. For some, it is your fellow sisters and brothers, right? For others, it's whatever you are called to be of service. I don't know why healing the water was another thing that came up. So healing the water, and I don't know what that means. If healing the water, I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
But it's that showing up, for for the planet Earth, because we're all called to as light workers, right?
Hmm.
To
Yeah.
help humanity, specifically Mother Earth, humanity ascend. And so
Yeah.
that's the
So what I'm seeing is kind of in it's like a how like prairies or mountains, how lightning will strike and it'll start a fire and then it goes through that area and it cleanses that area of things that it just cleanses that area. And so through that new growth comes up. And
yeah,
so that was what I saw when you were first talking about the fire and the earth dragon, because I was like, oh, it's the prairie, it's the mountain, it's the everything about that space is going through that regenerative flow. And so that's happening all over.
yeah.
And then I don't know about you guys, but I will continue to tell this story until you guys tell me to stop. But my favorite song is a little kid's song, and it's This Little Light of Mine, I'm Gonna Let It Shine.
Yes, I was gonna
Yep.
say that.
And
Yeah.
I sing that song when I don't know what else to do because it makes me happy. But I'm also like a little kid, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to let my light shine. And I picture it in my heart space. And then I'm going to make it bigger. And it encompasses my whole body. I'm going to make it bigger. And then it encompasses my whole aura. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to take this out and I'm going to go out into the world. And I am just going to, like Johnny Appleseed, let my light shine and throw those little seeds out wherever I go. And that's literally the stuff that plays in my head. My inner child gets so excited every time I do that because it's like, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah. I love that story because that's what we can all do,
Yeah.
right? And I feel that, right? Whenever we step into a space that is heavy, by heavy I mean there's maybe fear, there's anger, that is whatever, right? Sorrow, heaviness, right? We get to show up as healers.
Hmm.
Like I call in my higher self, I activate this light within me, and then I'm like, this is my chance now to shine brighter for, because that's what we are called to do. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And in the light, the brighter your light shines, the farther away the densities go because they
yeah,
can't live in the light. You can't have darkness and light. It's only light, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
so I remember a long time ago, um I had gone to see like in a big arena. I'd gone and I'd seen Sylvia Brown and she was talking about how you call in your angels and you have them surround you, and when you go in a room they push all the negative people away from you. And I was like, wow, that's I hope I could do that someday. That's really, really cool. And then I realized it's my light keeps
yeah,
that away. My light keeps because people get frustrated because I don't fall for the bait because I'm too busy going, well, you can say whatever you want to say, but I'm going to make my light shine even brighter, right? I default to the 4-year-old in me, and I'm going to shine my light.
yeah, yeah. And people sometimes do get frustrated, but
Yeah,
it's
and they're
also,
like, "Well, you're no fun. You don't play. You don't play. You don't fall for it." And I'm like, "It's not that I don't fall for it. I just choose not to engage in it. But I will shine my light brightly on you and hope that that helps
yes.
you, and hope that that helps you as you continue on your journey."
I was
So,
100% going to say that because one of the things that really drew me, and for all of you who are interested, I mean, I'm sure that's why you're watching this on replay or watching this because you're really interested in being light workers, you're interested in developing a spirituality, because a part of you wants to help others and wants to heal yourself.
mhm,
And that's one of the biggest thing that I learned in my own spiritual journey is that people who are hurting hurt others. People who are heal others.
yeah,
And I carry that because I came from a place of hurt,
yeah,
and so I went from the opposite to the opposite, and in just a short few years, because like my perspective and a lot of things have changed because of that. And that's why the light, right? The light pushes the darkness away, but the light also invites people to look, if they choose to, look into their own
yeah,
darkness and then say, I want some of that. Because that
yeah.
was what I did. I was
It,
like, why are you so happy? What is it? I want some of that.
yeah,
And then you're like, come on, let's talk now, right? Um,
yeah.
and that was my experience. And so yeah, I know
Never,
all of you are here because you're called to do, yeah, you're
yeah,
called to
never,
grow
ever.
spiritually. Yeah,
Yeah, never, ever, 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 ever underestimate the power of healing yourself.
yeah,
Never underestimate it.
100%.
If the only thing you do is work on yourself, that is more than enough. That is
That is,
absolutely more than enough
yeah,
because by working on yourself, you're shining your light brighter and you're giving people in your vicinity
permission to,
permission to work on themselves, and
yeah.
it's like a chain reaction. Never ever
100%.
underestimate if you
100%.
don't know
Yeah.
what to do, go within.
100%.
Seriously.
That is,
Seriously.
I have, yeah, I
That's my
100% agree
motto.
because that's how I've been healing my family lineage. It's what I've been healing, how I've been healing my family lineage. Through that, through reaching them, not from a place of anger or pain, but through reaching them from a place of like love and understanding. And that has shifted, you know, people in my family who are so stubborn and so much in their pain, right? And that is how I am hoping to show up for them, and they may not change, and that's okay. Everyone's on their own journey, but even seeing them kind of soften their stance and even acknowledging some of the trauma or even shifting the way they speak to people, I'm like, that's a huge change. And sometimes it's all about that. They may not know that they are sometimes speaking in an abusive manner, and so that's one of the way,
Yeah.
yeah.
It allows
Um,
communication to happen. Let
But
yeah, communicate,
yeah,
communicate, communicate.
so we're at 8:30, one and a
Oh my
half
gosh,
hours.
look
I
at
know.
us. We get to chatting and it just comes out. Oh, well,
I will,
hopefully
yeah.
I'm sending a big group hug for everyone.
And
Thank you for
big group
helping me set
hug.
up sacred space,
Thank you
for
thank
for
you.
hanging with us.
Yeah, and if you want to reach out to us for whatever reason, right?
Yeah,
You know, and feel free to DM us, right? We are here for you. Feel free to reach out to us,
yeah.
okay?
I
And
will.
we're gonna do
Yeah,
this again
I do want to
next
say
week.
though,
Yeah,
we do we do have a little bit of stuff on the clairs with Reiki 1. If anyone's interested in learning some self-healing, we do have a recorded course. But you can reach out to us individually for that
yeah,
if that's
yeah.
something you're interested in.
If that is something that costs to you and you want to go deeper into like the clairs, and we talked about the clairs in Reiki 1, feel free to reach out to us. And but right now, you know, we're really hoping to, yeah, be the light, right? And to
Yeah.
lead by shining, inviting you to do the same in your community,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I want to
And
sing. Can I sing the song?
yes, go ahead and sing the song. I know you, but and so Dawn, yeah, do you do Reiki too? Yes, yes,
Mhm.
let's talk. Yes,
Yes.
we have Reiki 2, we have Reiki 3. And it's
Yeah.
all we are really teaching the fundamentals, the foundation and the
Deeply.
basic
Yeah.
of energy work of healing yourself, but plus also dragon fire.
Hmm.
So even if you have taken Reiki
The
1, 2, and
magic.
3, we are adding dragon fire. And so if you're interested in the dragon fire piece and you've already been certified, come talk to us.
Yeah.
We're really focused on like really empowering people with all the tools so that they can be the light for themselves and for
Yeah.
others around them. But yeah, just the one other thing, if you have any questions about clairs or if you have any topics you want us to talk about, feel free to drop it in the group because we love
Yeah.
that. We want this group to be empowering, to be like a place where we can all come here and feel energized, rejuvenated,
Yeah.
be in community with each other, and just we are humans.
Yes,
There's,
and I
yeah,
would love for people to put their experiences with clair cognizance and clair sentience in the chat. If you've had a profound experience, or if you have tips or tricks, or if there's something that we didn't cover, we're all learning from each other. This is our community, so put it in there. Let's
yeah.
chat it up. Let's chat it up and have
Exactly.
great
Ask us
experience.
any questions. There are
Hmm.
no like seriously, there's no stupid questions. I started with zero experience and I have so many questions. It's okay because people always apologize. I'm sorry for asking all these questions. No, don't apologize. That's how, you know, everyone learns differently.
Yeah,
So ask us all the questions. If you have things you would love for us to cover, we can cover anything. So ask away. It
some of
doesn't
them
have
we
to
could
be the
do good,
dragons.
some of them might not be so good, but we'll try.
Yeah, and if we don't know, we are happy to invite
Yeah.
experts
We're
in
yes,
who
absolutely.
know. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
so one of you on the call or on watching the replay, maybe an
Hmm.
expert in something that we absolutely have zero knowledge or experience about, and we will love for
Love to
more.
bring you in.
Yeah, love to bring that
Yeah.
in. So definitely ask this question. Tell us what you would like to hear, because we're gonna do the clairs until Thanksgiving, and then we're
Okay.
gonna do some more fun stuff like
Into the
Christmas, right?
holidays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're gonna, yeah, let's bring all the cheer. Let's do all the cheer and all the joy, right? Let's bring
Yeah.
it in.
Bring it in. So, and so if anyone doesn't know the song that is now permanently stuck in my head, it's this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine.
Yeah, go ahead,
This
go ahead.
little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
let it
let it
shine.
shine.
But I think people have heard the song before, but you can Google it. But it's fun. It's a simple song, but it brings me so much joy, and it helps me keep my heart open, so that I can experience the world from a heart centered, instead of the brain centered, because
Broken.
we're all moving in that direction. We're bouncing back and
Yeah.
forth from the heart and the head. It's a different way of living. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So if you have any questions about Reiki 1 to 3 or even 5 element Dragonfire Reiki, do reach out
yeah,
to us. We're happy
please
to
do.
like, yeah, we'll have all any questions, feel free to reach out, and then we'll see you again on
Yeah,
Thursday.
next Thursday,
Um,
same time, same bad station, right?
Yes, lots of hugs, lots of
Mm,
positive energy sending you the emerald dragons and the cosmic pink dragons. And the black dragon also wants to come in, which is perfect because that's about cocooning, right? We are all undergoing change and metamorphosis, all of us, right? And that change, the black dragon's coming in to cocoon you, to protect you, right, on your soul path, to protect your light, the light of the light workers, the awakening of the earth angels, right? And so inviting, sending the cosmic pink dragons to you, fill up your heart, the emerald dragon to open up your heart for more abundance, for more blessings, filling up any place where they may be fear, doubt, hopelessness, uncertainty, any of that, loss or grief, heartache, all that, filling it all up. I'm gonna have you take a nice deep breath in. We're gonna bring Archangel Raphael coming into your heart space, your heart chakra, with his hands on your heart, filling this up with so much love. What he's saying is, do not run on empty. And so if you're giving yourself to others, you're giving yourself to the community, to your family. We're filling you up so you can continue to do the work. But the Black Dragon is here to protect you and protect your path as light workers. And so I'm sending all of that to you. And the last thing with the Emerald Dragons to open spaces of abundance for you and the road, and call in the highest and best possible outcome for you in your path. I'm going to bring that in. And we're sealing that in with the white and gold dragon, knowing that the dragons are with you always. You just have to call on them. If you don't sense them or feel them, just know that they are around you. And so it is, so it is, so it is. Thank you.
okay,
Thank you.
what's
Thank you
yeah,
for
thank you,
joining
everyone.
us.
We're gonna go
You are
ahead and
not,
yeah,
yeah,
we're gonna shut down the sacred space a little bit. So we're gonna call back
yeah.
what is ours to come to us, and what is yours goes back to you.
And
And
thank
thank you for
you.
the honor of being in your presence today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And know that you are never alone. Feel free to reach out to us if you ever need just a listening ear. Okay. So much love. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.